Not many wives would appreciate a two-family house where they live with their in-laws. Especially if the mother-in-law is the monstrous type. In my case, not only my mother-in-law, but even my husband did not give me any other option but to live in a two-family house. What's more, they even came up with an outrageous plan secretly to me. I'll tear that plan down. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm a 35-year-old living in a moderately urban area. My husband, Michael, is 38 and works for a mid-sized company. We don't have any children. We live in a rental apartment. Because of its cheap and poor construction and Michael is obese, the sound of his thudding walk echoed through the building. Because of this, we've received numerous complaints from neighbors on either side and below us. I've apologized countless times and told Michael to lose weight. But Michael would sulk and say, "I'm tired from work, don't talk to me about that," and his stomping would become even louder in anger. I've suggested moving to a soundproof apartment or a house several times. But he's always been against it because of the convenient access to his office and the fact that the downtown district is just a 10-minute drive away. One evening, a slightly intimidating young man from downstairs came to complain loudly again. As I was apologizing to the man, Michael, who had been drinking, suddenly appeared from the living room and shouted at the man, "You're the one making more noise." As a result, Michael got thoroughly beaten up by the man, who seemed to be used to fights, and I had to apologize again. "Why are you apologizing? He is the one at fault." After the man left, Michael ranted and raved, but as I treated his wounds, he sobered up and suddenly became timid, saying, "Maybe we should leave this place." I wasn't going to let this chance slip by, so I started looking for options the next day. My first choice was to buy a house. But with both of us having student loan debts from university and the areas Michael preferred being way out of our budget, it seemed impossible. And renting a 30-year-old house would cost over $1,000 a month, which was also a stretch. Out of the blue, I got a call from my mother-in-law, Samantha. I heard from Michael. "You should move out of such a dangerous place quickly." Seriously, Michael had to go and say unnecessary things. Samantha is always trying to have things her way and takes Michael's side over mine. Before we got married, I was earning almost the same as Michael at a fairly large company, but she commanded, "Don't be cheeky just because you're a woman. Once you're married, cut back on work and take proper care of Michael." Since Michael agreed to it, I'm now working part-time from home, doing clerical tasks for that company. My salary has been reduced to less than a third, and upon learning this, Samantha said, "Exactly, that's how it should be," with satisfaction. Which is quite frustrating. I was anxious about what she would say this time. When I told her, "I think so too, but it's hard to find a good place," she, as expected, came up with something outrageous. "What are you talking about? Just come live with us." I was about to refuse, but her words, "Michael is all for it too. Come over this weekend, and we can discuss the details," made me speechless. Wait, Michael never mentioned this to me. As I stood there dumbfounded, she said, "So, this Saturday at 10 a.m. I'll be waiting," and hung up. I quickly sent a text to Michael, but got no reply. I tried calling him around the time he gets off work, but there was no answer. He didn't come home until almost 11 p.m., being drunk. "Didn't you read my text?" I asked, unable to help raising my voice. "What's the problem? We get to live in a new house, it should be fine." "A new house? But your parents' house is over 40 years old and pretty run down, isn't it?" "What, my mom didn't tell you? We're building a two-family house." "I didn't hear about this." "My parents will pay the down payment, and we'll cover the rest. We'll take out a loan together under our own name." "Wait, what do you mean?" Apparently, Michael had been at his parents' house just now, discussing the loan with them. I couldn't believe it. Michael and his parents were making plans without me, his wife. It looks like the monthly repayment will be about $1,000, only $300 more than our current rent. But that $300 is a big deal. Where does he think that extra money will come from? I was at my wit's end. My father-in-law might be reasonable, but once Samantha and Michael make up their minds, there's nothing can change their minds. If you increase your work from home, couldn't you easily cover the $300? My job mainly involves data entry, and being part-time, if there's no work, there's no pay. No matter how much I want more money, work doesn't just keep coming in. I've explained this to him numerous times, but he just doesn't get it. Moreover, knowing the approximate monthly payments suggests that the discussions have advanced considerably, right? I also felt uneasy about Michael suddenly wanting to move back to his parents' house, despite his previous reluctance to move. The fight with the young man downstairs was definitely a major factor. But I'm really concerned about him easily agreeing to a two-family house where we'd bear most of the expenses. I had a bad feeling and became very scared of going to his parents' house over the weekend. When we went to his parents' house over the weekend, Samantha, all smiles, said, "Let's live together in a two-family house." I've even got a salesperson from a major homebuilder here to discuss it, having thoroughly prepared by inviting a salesperson. The salesman laid the blueprints in front of me and started with an explanation of two-family house. He described the separate type, characterized by having duplicate facilities like kitchens and bathrooms for each family. He then went on to explain the shared type, where only some facilities are shared between the two families. And the integrated type, which involves sharing all living spaces. Of course, I preferred the separate or at least the shared type, but Michael and Samantha wanted the integrated type. "It's better because we can live more closely together," Samantha said. "Plus, it'll be much cheaper to build," Michael added. "While it's good to save on construction costs." But I didn't want to, or rather couldn't, get along well with Samantha. Also, it's more convenient for childcare in the integrated type, right? "I'll take good care of everything," she added. Childcare? Michael and I had given up on having children after years of trying. I had explained this to Samantha, and yet she mentioned childcare? Something was definitely off. Seeing me fall silent, Michael hastily said, "I mean, maybe we might have kids in the future," trying to cover up. Sure, it's not impossible, and having grandparents around could be convenient for childcare, but... However, there was a significant issue with living in his parents' house that went beyond deciding on a two-family house. The mobile phone signal was very poor. Calls would drop or be filled with noise. It seemed to be because their house was surrounded by large buildings. Moreover, there was an old rumor that electromagnetic waves from mobile phones are very harmful to the body. Even though mobile phones are now manufactured according to strict safety standards. Samantha still believed in that rumor and had no intention of improving the signal situation. But this was a problem for me. My data entry work often comes at the last minute, and I rely on my phone to receive instructions and ask questions while I work furiously. This phone is provided by my company, and they cover the costs. Calls can last up to 30 minutes per job. So not being able to use my phone and having to resort to a landline would be a big problem because of the call charges. But neither Michael nor Samantha understood the severity of the situation. They don't use their phones much at home, so they don't see the big deal if the connection is poor. However, I couldn't back down here. "Listen, if we move here, I won't be able to do my job. That means we won't be able to pay the mortgage. We really can't live together," I pleaded with Michael. Then Michael clicked his tongue. The two-family house we were planning to build would be under both our names, and we were supposed to pay the mortgage separately. According to him, this was because it would allow us to double the mortgage tax deduction, thus saving more on taxes. But there was actually another reason. I was surprised that all this had been decided without me, but at the same time, if I didn't agree, the contract couldn't proceed. So I ignored Michael's click of the tongue and stubbornly held my ground, managing to put the discussion on hold for now. I was hoping this whole thing would just fall through. Under no circumstances could I work in a place with poor phone reception, and I wanted to avoid living with Samantha at all costs. But contrary to my wishes, Michael and Samantha kept expanding the plan. They said, "The parents' room will be on the sunny second floor, we'll install an elevator considering future needs for caregiving and wheelchair access, the kitchen, bathroom, and toilets will be on the first floor." Wait, an elevator? I found out that a home elevator could cost between $30,000 to $40,000. Not to mention, they conveniently took the second floor for themselves, meaning they'd use the elevator multiple times a day. Which would increase the electricity bill and incur annual maintenance costs. I doubted his parents would cover those costs. When I confronted Michael about it, he said, "We're going to use it too, so we should pay for it together." Why does he always ignore my opinion? As I grew angrier and stopped talking to Michael, his already late return times from work got even later. At first, I thought he might be going to his parents' house, but a single phone call revealed that wasn't the case. Samantha kept barging into our house almost every day. Why are you so against this? Are you determined to reject living with us no matter what? No more against my mom. If we have kids, Mom can take care of them. I've told you many times, I can't work if my phone doesn't have a signal, and there are many other issues. I was determined not to lose and resisted the pressure from Samantha and Michael. Suddenly, Samantha went to the kitchen and came back with a bowl filled with water. As I watched her movements with a bad feeling, she barged into my room and yelled, "Well then, I'll do this," and threw the water from the bowl all over the laptop I use for work. She then said to me, astounded, "If you don't have a computer, you can't do your typing job, right? Just find a different job here. Just hurry up and sign the contract." I pushed Samantha aside to check on my laptop, but it wouldn't turn on at all. She really did it now. Glaring at Samantha, I said, "This laptop is company property. It was specially purchased for me, costing over $1,500. What are you going to do about it?" Samantha turned pale and yelled, "What are you talking about? I just tripped and spilled some water, that's all. I didn't know anything about it." And tried to leave in a hurry. She thought she could get away with it that easily. I grabbed her and turned to Michael with a smile. "Let's just get a divorce. It's much better to divorce now than to live with Samantha." Since I had never mentioned a divorce before, both Michael and Samantha were shocked. "Wait, just hold on a minute. This is so sudden, we haven't even signed the contract yet." "Oh, so we can divorce after signing the contract?" "No, that's not what I mean." Seeing Michael falter, I pressed on. "I know everything. You plan to make the two-family house jointly owned and then make me pay half the mortgage before divorcing me. How did you know that?" "Because Emily called me." Mentioning Emily made Michael turn pale. "Your dear Emily called me the other day, asking me to hurry up and divorce you." Yes, Michael was having an affair with a younger woman named Emily, who was even pregnant. According to her, Michael had promised to divorce me and live together in the new two-family house, saying it would be fine because Samantha could take care of the baby. "Did she really tell you all that?" As Michael panicked, I continued. "No wonder you wanted it to be jointly owned. By having separate mortgages, even if we divorced, I'd still have to pay my share. The tricky part about joint mortgages is that divorce doesn't exempt either party from their payment obligations. Though child support might offset some of my payments, it wouldn't eliminate them entirely." Looking at Samantha, she avoided my gaze and said, "It's because you won't give us grandchildren." As I expected, Samantha knew about Emily and her child and was planning to welcome them into the home. "Oh, so it's all my fault? But you couldn't afford to divorce before the mortgage contract for the two-family house? Which is why you were in such a hurry to get the contract signed." Both Samantha and Michael looked down, biting their lips. I said to Michael, "If you don't agree to the divorce now, you won't be able to marry Emily. She's already terminated her apartment lease this month and would move into your parents' house to check the two-family house plan. If I don't divorce you, I'll stay this apartment rented under your name, and other women will comfortably settle into your parents' house. It'll be tough financially and disgraceful to the public eye, right?" After my speech, they panicked, and eventually, Michael reluctantly divorced me. I kept it a secret that Emily said, "I'll definitely shove that old hag into a sunless room on the first floor." That's fine, right? I heard from the neighbors that after our divorce, Michael married Emily, but due to her insistence on a good phone signal, the construction of the two-family house was cancelled. However, it was unlikely that the young woman could endure living in an old house over 40 years old. And Samantha was also frustrated because she was forced to take care of the baby. Battles between Samantha and Emily unfolded almost daily until finally, I heard that Emily left, taking the child with her. Now, I've heard that Michael can't sleep over property division payments to me, living expenses and divorce litigation filed by Emily, and potential child support. all while dealing with the mess he's created. Emily, too, seems panicked by the fact that she had to raise her child by herself. While Samantha intends to make Michael cover the compensation for my laptop she destroyed by pouring water on it. Lately, cars with real estate company logos are often spotted at their house, so they're probably planning to sell it. Too bad. Currently, I'm staying at my parents' house for a while, having been reinstated as a full-time employee from part-time and working hard. I've recently become close to a male colleague who's a divorced single father, and I'm gradually getting to know his child better. I dream of one day becoming a family of 3 with them,